Hi, this is Gary. You're watching a tutorial on how to build a metal drain pipe. The type we're doing is for the big box stores like Walmart, Sam's Club, Meijer, any of the big retail type stores, Kmart, what have you here. As you can see, the beam I've got on the screen, that is what we're connecting our pipe to, and I've got the pipe on the right. Now that's actually going to be two pipes, as we'll see in the tutorial, and what we want to do is we want to put that on the beam there, and so all the water that's draining down goes through the pipe and then goes into the drain in the bottom. Now in a perfect world we could just make it straight, but we don't live in a perfect world, so we have to do a little bit of engineering and setting up 45-degree angles and so forth. And we're going to go ahead and get started on how to do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shrink this down here, and we're going to look at the tools that we need to do the project. First off, we need a marker. Secondly, we need a saw to cut the plastic on top and on the bottom. Thirdly, next we need a pair of metal clippers. I don't just mean one. We need the right metal clippers and the left metal clippers, because you're going to have to cut the metal pipe in different directions, and it's going to be impossible to make cuts. You're going to need two different metal clippers, a right clipper and a left clipper. Next, we're going to need a caulk gun, or a caulk and a caulk gun. Then we're going to need crimpers. Obviously we'll need a tape measure so we can measure everything. We'll need a ladder or some type of means of getting up there. In our case, I think we used one of those scissors that lifts you up, but a ladder will work as well. You're going to need metal clamps. They're black like this. They're really, there might be like 13. For our tutorial, we're going to do a 4-inch drain pipe, so it's going to be like around 12 inches or so, and you're going to be moving them in at just over 4, maybe 4 1/8, so you can fit your pipe in there. And then obviously you need a bender for those clamps. You're obviously going to need steel-toe boots, and the metal pipe, which I mentioned earlier in our example, is going to be we're going to go 4x4, so it's not going to be quite like this centered, but to get the idea of what it looks like there. We'll need screws as well, and obviously a power drill. Now I prefer Black & Decker. You can do it manually, it's just a lot faster with a power drill. And a hammer for bending any problems we might have with the pipe to try to make it look nice and straight. Now we're going to want to use the tape measure to figure out the distances below, and I'm going to draw a picture below. Note that the pipe is at a 45-degree angle, and we're going to measure these distances. The yellow line is not the exact distance we're going to have. We're going to have to end up adding 4 inches to every corner because of what we're going to do with the pipe as far as how we engineer the 45-degree angles and stuff, and I'll walk through that later. That's probably the most complicated the part of this project. It will take a little bit of time to measure everything, and you want to make sure you get your measurements right, otherwise you can end up rebuilding a pipe or two, which is no fun. There we go, and use our tape measure there. Now you'll also have to use a ladder to go up on as well. Now next we're going to use a saw. We're going to cut a 4-inch space. We're going to cut 4-inch space in the green pipe below, and we're going to cut in the top part as well, because the top is usually a plastic type drain thing, and that's where we're connecting our metal pipe to. So we use those items there. Then our next part is we want to take a 12-inch metal piece, or maybe 12 1/8, and we're going to use those metal crimps we have at about 4 1/8 inch right there, and we're going to fold them up into a square as I showed below, and then we're going to attach those pieces to the structure or the supporting beam, and then we're going to take a screw and then use our power drill and drill those in there. The next part of the process is cutting the metal pipe, and this may be the most challenging or most difficult. I'll start out with the easiest part and we'll go to the more difficult parts. And when we get to the most difficult part of cutting the angle, you might either want to hit print screen and print out a picture of that tutorial, or draw it out by hand. So you have a good mental note of how to do it. Let's go ahead and get started on this here. We're going to need a marker. We're going to need a pair of metal clippers, right cutters and left cutters. So we're going to need at least two different types so we can cut into the metal at different angles or different directions. We're going to need a power drill, a caulk gun, screws, tape measure, and obviously a hammer. Now, we want to think in terms of water and which way water flows. Well, obviously water flows down, but we want to think in terms of what angles it's going to hit when it goes through our drain pipe, and then we want to adjust the inside of the drain pipe so that we're obviously not leaking water in any spots. So when you're deciding whether to put it in or out with a screw, just think in terms of how water flows and how your pipe's set up, and then you should be able to make the right decision on that. For the top part, we're going to cut four things and have them tab out, maybe not quite as wide as what's in the picture. And then we're going to take screws and we're going to screw those in. We're also going to screw the side of the metal pipe because you can open it. You want to screw that so that none of the water gets out through there, and we'll probably have to caulk that as well. Use a caulk gun there. And then next we're going to do all this maneuvering and stuff, and we're going to have it look kind of like this square box I have with the angles and so forth. And then we're going to use crimpers to crimp the bottom so we can fit our two pipes together. And then we're going to have a second pipe that looks like the inverse of the metal pipe I have right here. The hard part is what I'm going to show you in just a minute here. Now that's going to involve power tools, power drills, caulk gun, screws, tape measure, all kinds of stuff that I've got circled here. And we're going to go ahead and start walking through that. For this, I'm going to draw some yellow lines in the bottom here. We have the left side, and I'm going to corresponding arrows here to which piece it goes for. This right side, and then obviously the back. I've drawn some stuff in red here, and the green part is going to be like a 1-inch flap, and we're going to want to go 4 inches on the cut, or that's because our pipe is 4 inches and we're going at a 45-degree angle, so we're going to have to go 4 inches. We're going to have to give ourselves a little bit of extra space, I'd say a 1/2 inch on both of the items there. I've got an arrow to 1, and then we're going to use our pair of metal clippers, the right clippers and the left clippers, to cut all that out. And then if you see the red dotted lines I have there, that we're going to use to bend or fold inward. And then I've got some screws that I've circled there. Now, if you may want to go back, we'll have to caulk it too. Now, what you may want to do is you might want to go back and hit print screen right now, and then open a Word document, and then hit Control V, or go to Edit and then or Paste, so you can print out a copy of this, or you can write it out by hand so you have an idea of the schematics. This right here is for the part I've circled in the small diagram on the bottom right hand corner. That's how we cut that piece, and that's how we cut the corresponding piece on the bottom as well. Highlighted in green, and I'm going to change colors here. Now for the other two parts on the inside, if you're thinking intuitively, and you are right, we are going to do the reverse, or we're going to do the flip side of what we did there. We do it here now. Now you can see I got a different diagram here with different cuts. It's the same concept, but it's different cuts because we're doing the reverse cut. We're basically it's like it's kind of like a 45-degree angle jaw, or think of like a mouth kind of when you're cutting. And we'll basically do the same thing for this, but we're doing it the opposite way. And that's a diagram there. You might want to hit print screen on this one as well, and then Control V or edit paste it to a Word document, and then you can print it out from Microsoft Word or any type of Word document you have on your computer. And basically we just do the opposite on this, and then I'll highlight the spots for that. And that is the hard part. Once you get through that, you're pretty much almost complete here. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to clamp the pipe to the structured beam. I've got a structured beam there, and I've got the clamps that we've already put on. And we want to take our top pipe there with the crimper stuff, and we want to put that onto the beam. So we put that onto the beam, and then we're going to take some screws, and we're going to screw both sides. I prefer 2 screws so it holds good. And then we're going to draw our 4-inch thing, and we're going to take a saw, and we're going to cut the hole in the bottom there so it fits in. And we might actually have to cut at 4 1/8 inch because if the pipe is 4 inches, it might actually be wider than that. You'll have to take a look at that or measure it out. The best thing to do is just take the pipe itself, put it on top of there, and then use your marker. So then we got our hole there, and then we take our bottom pipe, which is going to be the opposite of the top pipe, and we screw it on, put it together, and then we have our structure beam, or our pipe connected to the structure beam. And this concludes the tutorial for how to build a metal drain pipe. Hopefully this stuff was helpful for you.